Ladies, let me clear this up right now. When I say make love to a man, I'm not talking about what happens in the bedroom. That's the easy part. Anybody can do that. What I'm talking about is something deeper. I'm talking about how to reach a man's heart, his mind, his spirit. That's the real love making. Because truth be told, you can touch a man's body and he'll remember it for a night, but if you learn how to touch his soul, he'll remember you for a lifetime. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Women think men are complicated. Y'all sit around with your friends like, I just don't understand what he wants. I don't know what he's thinking. I wish he would just talk. Let me help you. Men are not complicated. We are the simplest creatures walking this earth. You don't need a degree to understand us. You just got to know which buttons to press. The first thing, respect. A man needs respect like he needs oxygen. It's not optional. You want to make love to his heart. Show him you see him as the man he's trying to be, not just the one he is today. When you speak to him with respect, when you trust his judgment, when you let him know you believe in him, that man will walk through fire for you. Because men don't chase looks, they don't chase money, they don't even chase fun forever. They chase the woman who makes them feel like a king in a world that keeps treating them like pawns. Second piece, hear me on this one. A man's world out there is rough. Every day he's fighting battles you don't even see. He's fighting for his job, for his pride, for his dreams. When he comes home, he don't want to walk into another battlefield. He don't want to come home to drama, to nagging, to chaos. You want to make love to a man, be his peace. That doesn't mean you can't disagree. That doesn't mean you can't have standards. But it does mean you know how to give him a safe place, a soft landing. If you can be the calm in his storm, he'll chase you like his life depends on it, because in a way it does. Third, admiration. You know how y'all love compliments? Girl, you look good in that dress, and you light up. Men need that too, but they rarely get it. You tell a man, I'm proud of you, and watch his whole chest puff up like Superman. Tell him, I trust you, and watch how much harder he works to live up to it. Men are simple. They'll break their back for a woman who makes them feel admired, because deep down, every man wants to be somebody's hero. Fourth, support. Now listen, when a man has a vision, when he's chasing something bigger than himself, he's gonna face doubt, setbacks, and failure. But if he's got you in his corner saying, baby, I got your back, keep going, that's fuel he can't get anywhere else. That right there is love making. That right there is how you tie yourself to his spirit. Because when a man feels like you believe in him, he'll fight harder, not just for his dream, but for you. Fifth, intimacy. And yes, I mean physical intimacy too, but not just that. It's the little things. It's holding his hand when he's stressed. It's rubbing his back after a long day. It's sitting in silence together without it feeling awkward. Physical love is easy, but true intimacy, that's when you connect without words. That's when he feels safe showing you his weaknesses, knowing you won't use them against him. That's love making on a level no one else can touch. And lastly, freedom. You want to make love to a man, give him the space to still be himself. Don't try to change every little thing about him. Don't put him in a box so tight he can't breathe. Let him have his boys' night. Let him watch his game. Let him hold on to the pieces of himself that existed before you came along. Because here's the secret. When a man feels free with you, he doesn't run away, he runs home. See, love making is not just about candles and slow music. It's about how you treat a man when the lights are on. When life is hard, when money is tight, when he's not at his best, that's where the real love is made. When you can give him respect, peace, admiration, support, intimacy, and freedom, you're not just touching his body, you're touching his soul. And when you touch a man's soul, you got him for life. Respect is a man's oxygen. Without it, he cannot breathe in a relationship, he cannot grow, he cannot stand tall, and he cannot give his best. Respect is not a bonus, it's not a nice gesture. It's the very thing that keeps him alive as a man. When a man feels disrespected, everything inside him starts to collapse. He begins to withdraw, he stops trying, he loses his spark. You can feed him, you can clothe him, you can even love him, but if you do not respect him, none of those things will ever matter. A man will go further for respect than he will for love, because respect tells him he is valued, he is trusted, he is honored for who he is, and who he is trying to become. Respect doesn't mean you worship him or bow down to him. Respect means you speak to him in a way that lifts him instead of tearing him down. Respect means you trust his judgment even if you don't always agree. Respect means when you correct him, you do it without belittling him. Respect means you acknowledge his efforts even if the results aren't perfect. A man will work twice as hard for a woman who sees the good in him and makes him feel like he's enough, while also inspiring him to be better. If you want to know how to truly make love to a man, give him respect in your words, your tone, your actions. A soft word in the right moment can be more powerful to him than any physical touch. When a man steps into the world, he is constantly judged, constantly measured, constantly doubted. At work, someone is second-guessing him. In society, people are labeling him. Even in his own mind, he's questioning whether he's doing enough, whether he's good enough. That's why respect at home is priceless. It's like oxygen to someone who's been holding their breath all day. When he comes home to a woman who respects him, who says, "I see you, I appreciate you, I trust you," he exhales. That's when he can relax. That's when he can love freely. That's when he can give himself fully, because he knows he's in a safe space where his manhood is not under attack. Now, let's be real. Every man has flaws. Every man will mess up. Respect does not mean ignoring mistakes. Respect means handling them in a way that doesn't strip him of his dignity. You can hold a man accountable without disrespecting him. You can disagree with him without demeaning him. The way you correct him will determine whether he shuts down or rises up. If you call him names, embarrass him, or cut him down, you suffocate him. But if you say, "I know you can do better. I know this isn't the best you," you give him room to breathe and rise. That's why respect is powerful. It doesn't excuse behavior. It inspires better behavior. Respect also shows up in the little things. Saying thank you when he provides, even if it's something small, asking his opinion on decisions, even if you already know your choice, just to let him feel included. Giving him space to lead sometimes, even if you're capable of leading. Men don't always say it out loud, but they crave that acknowledgement. They need to know that the woman they love sees them as capable, sees them as worthy, sees them as strong. When you deny a man that, he feels invisible. When you give it to him, he feels invincible. That's the difference respect makes, and it goes deeper than just words. Respect is in how you treat his dreams. Even if his dream looks small, even if it looks far-fetched, respect means you don't mock it. Respect means you encourage it. Respect means you stand beside him when others laugh, because nothing crushes a man faster than having the woman he loves laugh at his vision. But nothing strengthens him more than having her believe in it. That belief becomes fuel. That belief becomes his reason to push harder. And when he wins, he doesn't just celebrate the dream, he celebrates the woman who respected him enough to believe in it from the beginning. Respect is also about trust. A man cannot fully love a woman who does not trust him. If every word he says is doubted, if every move he makes is questioned, if every decision he tries to lead with is overturned, he feels like a child, not a man. And when a man feels like a child in his own home, he will eventually look for a place where he can feel like a man. That doesn't always mean cheating, but it does mean he'll pull away. He'll spend more time outside. He'll stop communicating. Respect keeps him anchored. It makes him want to stay. It makes him want to fight for the relationship. It makes him want to build. Respect is also about tone. A woman can say the right words in the wrong tone, and it becomes disrespect. You can say, "I love you," but if it's dripping with sarcasm, it cuts. You can say, "You need to do better," but if it's laced with contempt, it wounds. Men hear tone louder than they hear words. You can't make love to a man with words that strip him down, but you can build him with words that affirm him, correct him gently, and remind him that he's valued even when he stumbles. You don't have to wait until a man is perfect to respect him. You respect him where he is while encouraging him to become more. You don't respect just his results, you respect his efforts. You don't respect him only when he's winning, you respect him when he's losing too. Because real respect is consistent, not conditional. A man can tell when respect is only given as a reward, and that makes him feel manipulated. But when respect is steady, it makes him secure. And when a man is secure in your respect, he will give you love, loyalty, and devotion you can't buy with anything else. Or respect is the foundation. It's not the icing, it's the cake. You can give a man love, affection, passion, but without respect, it will suffocate him. Respect is what makes him want to rise up and be better. Respect is what makes him want to protect, provide, and commit. Respect is what makes him choose you over everyone else. Because to a man, respect is not optional. It's his oxygen, and without it, he cannot breathe in love, be his peace, not his battlefield. When a man steps out into the world, he's already fighting a war. He's fighting for his spot, fighting for his respect, fighting for his dreams, and sometimes even fighting against his own doubts. Every single day, he's carrying weight on his shoulders that most people don't even notice. Out there, he's competing, negotiating, defending himself, proving himself over and over. That's a battlefield he has no choice but to face. But when he comes home, the one thing he craves more than anything is peace. A man can deal with the stress of the world if he knows he's coming home to a woman who calms his spirit instead of stirring it up. He can deal with the pressures outside. If he knows that inside his home, inside his relationship, he has a safe place to rest when a man comes home and he feels like he's walking into another fight, another argument, another storm. It drains him. He doesn't get recharged. He doesn't feel supported. And instead of wanting to come home, he starts looking for ways to avoid it. That's why some men stay longer at work, hang out more with their friends, or bury themselves in distractions. It's not always that they don't love the woman. It's that they don't find peace with her. A man's heart needs that peace the way his body needs food. When you give him peace, you're not just loving him, you're healing him. You're giving him something he can't buy, can't hustle for, can't demand from the world. Peace is priceless. And when he knows you're the source of it, he'll cling to you with everything he's got. Peace doesn't mean silence all the time. Peace doesn't mean never having disagreements. Peace means knowing how to create balance in the relationship. Peace means knowing when to bring things up and when to let them go. Peace means learning how to speak to him in a way that corrects without crushing, that teaches without tearing down. The tone you use can turn a small issue into a war, or it can keep it calm and manageable. Men don't need perfection, but they need to feel like their home is not another battlefield. They need to feel like their partner is with them, not against them. Peace is about being a partner who knows how to work through problems without making the relationship feel like a constant fight. A peaceful woman doesn't nag a man every second about what he hasn't done. She knows how to bring up her needs clearly once and then give him the space to act. A peaceful woman doesn't humiliate him in front of others or constantly throw his mistakes in his face. She knows that men carry those words like wounds, and peace means protecting his spirit, not piercing it. A peaceful woman doesn't look for fights where there don't need to be fights. She knows how to pick her battles, and she understands that not everything deserves her energy. When a man feels that kind of energy from a woman, it relaxes him. It makes him want to be around her more. It makes him see her as his safe place. Men notice the difference between a home that is peaceful and one that is filled with tension. In a peaceful environment, he laughs more, he talks more, he shares more of himself. In a tense environment, he grows quiet, he shuts down, he withholds. Peace draws him closer while chaos pushes him away. If you want a man to open up emotionally, if you want him to reveal his deepest thoughts and fears, it won't happen in a battlefield. It only happens in peace. Because peace makes him trust. Peace makes him feel safe to be vulnerable. Peace tells him he can lay down his armor and still be protected. That is a love that goes beyond passion. That's nourishment for his soul. Peace is also about timing, knowing when to have the hard conversations. If a man has just had a rough day, coming at him with a list of complaints will only make him shut down further. But if you wait until he's calm, until he's rested, and then you bring it up with gentleness, he'll hear you differently. That's not manipulation, that's wisdom. That's understanding how to keep peace while still addressing real issues. It's not about avoiding truth, it's about delivering truth in a way that doesn't destroy the bond. A man will give his ear and his heart to a woman who knows how to bring up problems without turning them into constant wars. Peace also means appreciation. When you appreciate the little things he does, when you thank him for his efforts, when you acknowledge his presence, you create harmony. Men thrive in environments where they feel seen and appreciated. They don't thrive where they feel constantly criticized and unrecognized. A man doesn't expect his woman to agree with him all the time, but he does hope she'll show gratitude for what he does right instead of only highlighting what he does wrong. That gratitude feeds him. That gratitude makes him want to do more. That gratitude builds peace in the home because it shifts the focus from conflict to appreciation. Peace doesn't mean weakness. A peaceful woman is not a pushover. She has standards. She has boundaries, she has expectations, but she enforces them in a calm and consistent way, not through yelling, nagging, or constant drama. A peaceful woman knows how to say no firmly but respectfully. She knows how to hold her ground without turning everything into a war zone. That balance is what makes her powerful. She can be both strong and soft. She can stand on her boundaries while still keeping the relationship calm. That's the kind of peace that makes a man feel safe, respected, and cherished all at once. Peace is also contagious. When a man experiences peace with his woman, it makes him want to be more peaceful himself. He doesn't want to disrupt what he values. He doesn't want to lose the calm that she gives him. He'll work harder to maintain that peace. He'll adjust his behavior. He'll put in effort to keep the harmony alive. A man will fight the world differently when he knows he's coming home to peace. It gives him energy. It gives him hope. It gives him strength to face tomorrow. Peace is not just about avoiding arguments. It's about creating an atmosphere where love, respect, and calm are the foundation. A man who finds that kind of peace will treasure it forever Because out in the world, peace is rare, and at home, it should be sacred. Admiration fuels his pride. A man can work hard, provide, protect, achieve, and climb, but if the woman he loves doesn't admire him, it always feels like something is missing. Deep down, every man craves admiration. It's not about ego in the shallow sense. It's about the need to feel like his efforts matter, like the person he's doing it for actually sees the value in what he brings. A man wants to feel like the hero in his woman's eyes. He wants to feel like he is strong, capable, and worthy, and the way she looks at him, the way she talks about him, the way she affirms him. Those are the things that fuel his pride. Men are built to strive. They want to build something, to conquer something, to make a mark in the world. But that drive is not just for themselves. It's often for the woman they love. He's not just working those long hours or fixing things around the house or making tough decisions for no reason. He's doing it because he wants her to look at him with that glow of admiration, the kind of look that says, that's my man and I'm proud of him. When he gets that from her, it's like a shot of energy to his spirit. It makes him want to keep going, to keep building, to keep showing up for her. Admiration is fuel. Without it, he feels like he's running on empty. A woman's admiration can be shown in the smallest gestures. It can be as simple as saying, thank you for taking care of that, or I love how you handled that situation. It can be smiling at him when he's telling a story, laughing at his jokes, even if they're corny, or introducing him proudly in front of others. Those little signals tell a man that he matters, that his presence and his effort mean something. On the flip side, when a man feels like he is never good enough, when he feels like his efforts go unnoticed or unappreciated, it chips away at his pride. Over time, that lack of admiration makes him withdraw, because no man wants to keep pouring into a place where he feels invisible. Admiration doesn't mean pretending he's perfect. Men don't need fake flattery. They can usually see through that. What they need is genuine acknowledgement of what they're doing right. Even if he's still working on his goals, even if he hasn't arrived yet, he needs to feel like she sees his potential, like she believes in him. A woman saying, I know you're going to figure this out, I trust you, can light a fire inside him. Because what she's doing is admiring not just his results, but his effort, his drive, his character. That kind of admiration goes deeper than just compliments. It becomes motivation for him to keep becoming the man he wants to be. When a man feels admired by his woman, he becomes more confident in the world. He walks differently. He talks differently. He carries himself with more assurance. That admiration is like wind in his sails. It doesn't just make him feel good about himself. It actually makes him perform better. A man who feels admired at home will fight harder outside. He'll chase bigger goals. He'll take more risks. He'll rise to the challenge because he knows he has someone in his corner who believes in him. But when admiration is missing, when he feels criticized more than celebrated, it has the opposite effect. He starts doubting himself, questioning his worth, and sometimes even resenting the relationship that makes him feel so small. A lot of women underestimate how powerful their admiration can be. They think men only want physical intimacy, but what they don't always realize is that admiration is just as intimate. A man may sleep with a woman who doesn't admire him, but he will never give his full heart to her. His full heart goes to the one who makes him feel respected, appreciated, and admired. Because that admiration speaks to his deepest need, to feel significant, to feel like he matters, to feel like he's somebody in the eyes of the woman he loves. It's not about arrogance, it's about purpose. Admiration tells a man that his purpose is being recognized, and that makes him want to fulfill it even more. Sometimes women hold back admiration because they think it will make a man lazy or arrogant. But the truth is, admiration doesn't make a man lazy, it makes him ambitious. When he feels admired, he wants to do more of whatever earned that admiration. It's like positive reinforcement. A man who hears, I love how you handled that, will look for more opportunities to handle things well. A man who hears, I feel safe with you, will work even harder to protect and provide. Admiration doesn't inflate his ego in the wrong way. It strengthens his sense of responsibility in the right way. It makes him want to keep living up to the standard his woman sees in him. Admiration also builds loyalty. A man who feels admired will not easily trade that for someone else. He knows how rare it is, he knows how good it feels, and he knows he doesn't want to lose it. Men are drawn to places where they feel admired, and they stay where admiration lives. You can cook for him, you can love him physically, but if you strip away admiration, the relationship will always feel incomplete to him. But if you keep admiration alive, if you continue to show it in your words, your actions, and your attitude, he will stay connected, committed, and devoted, because that admiration feeds the very core of his pride. A man's pride is not about arrogance, it's about identity. He needs to feel like he is doing something right. like he is worth looking up to, like he is fulfilling his role. When the woman he loves gives him that sense of admiration, it doesn't just boost his pride, it gives him strength. It pushes him forward, it makes him love deeper, and it makes him give back in ways she may not even expect. Admiration is not just fuel for his pride, it is the fire that keeps him striving. Building and loving with everything he has. Support strengthens his vision. Every man carries a picture in his mind of where he wants to go and who he wants to be. It may not always be clear to others. Sometimes it may even look unfinished or messy, but to him, it's real. That vision is what drives him to wake up early, to take risks, to keep moving forward even when life knocks him down. But no matter how strong a man is, no matter how determined or disciplined he tries to be, the weight of that vision can get heavy. Doubt creeps in, obstacles block the path, failure sting, and sometimes he questions if he's capable of making it happen. That is where the power of support comes in. A woman's support is not just encouragement. It becomes fuel for his vision. When she stands by him, when she believes in him, when she voices her confidence in his ability, she gives him strength to keep going. Support doesn't always look like big gestures. It's not always about money or sacrifices or taking on his battles for him. Support can be as simple as listening to him when he talks about his dreams. Support can be reminding him of his progress when he only sees his failures. Support can be speaking life into him when he's surrounded by negativity. When a woman tells her man, "I believe in you, you've got this," it lands differently than when anyone else says it, because he knows she sees him up close, flaws and all, yet still chooses to believe. That kind of support makes a man fight harder. It makes him want to live up to her faith in him. A man without support may still chase his vision, but he'll carry a quiet loneliness while doing it. He may achieve the goal, but inside he will wish he had someone who believed in him along the way. When a man has support from the woman he loves, the journey feels different. The setbacks don't break him as easily, the failures don't sting as deeply, and the victories feel sweeter because they are shared. A man doesn't just want success, he wants someone to look at him with admiration and say, "I knew you could do it." That validation from his woman multiplies the meaning of his vision. Without it, even the highest achievements can feel hollow. Support doesn't mean agreeing with everything. A supportive woman doesn't clap for foolishness or encourage recklessness. Real support is honest. It's saying, "I believe in you, but let's think this through." It's asking the hard questions, not to tear him down, but to make sure he's prepared. Support is balance. It's giving him the push he needs without letting him run off a cliff. A man respects that kind of support because it comes from love, not control. He knows she's in his corner, not as a critic waiting for him to fail, but as a partner who wants him to win the right way. Support also shows up in the everyday. It's not just about dreams on a big stage. It's about the little visions too. Maybe his vision is to be a better father, to save for a house, to start a small business, or even to just take better care of his health. When his woman supports those goals, he feels validated. She may encourage him to rest when he's overworking, or she may celebrate the small wins he achieves along the way. That everyday support builds a pattern of trust. He starts to believe, no matter what I'm aiming for, I know she's with me. That belief gives him courage to dream bigger and reach further. Support doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes support is quiet strength. Sometimes it's her taking care of things at home so he can focus. Sometimes it's her presence when he's stressed, just sitting with him in silence so he doesn't feel alone. Support can be physical, emotional, spiritual, or practical. The form doesn't matter as much as the consistency. What matters to a man is knowing that when he looks over his shoulder, she's there. When he doubts himself, she reminds him of who he is. When he wants to quit, she nudges him forward. That steady support makes his vision less like a lonely dream and more like a shared mission. Men remember who supported them in their struggle. A man may smile with everyone when he reaches success, but deep down, he knows who believed in him when he was still building. He knows who stuck around when things weren't easy. That loyalty creates a bond he won't forget. Support during the climb builds trust, and that trust makes him want to give back more when he finally stands tall. A man will give his best to the woman who gave him her support when he had nothing to offer but a dream, because to him, that shows she loved not just the results, but the process, and the man behind its support also strengthens his confidence. A man's vision often stretches him beyond his comfort zone, and fear comes with that. But when he has someone reminding him of his strengths, he feels braver. He takes chances he might not take alone. He perseveres in moments he would have quit. That's not weakness. That's partnership. Great men have always been fueled by the support of someone who believed in them. That belief doesn't just keep him going, it shapes who he becomes. A man who feels supported grows stronger, wiser, and more focused. A man who feels unsupported grows defensive, closed off, and wary support is not about carrying him. It's not about making his vision your own. It's about walking beside him while he carries it. It's about reminding him that even when the road is long, he's not walking it alone. Support is not about taking credit. It's about being a source of strength behind the scenes. Men don't always say it out loud, but they know the difference it makes. They know how much harder they fight when they have a woman who supports them wholeheartedly. And they know how much it hurts when they feel unsupported, dismissed, or doubted. Support can be the difference between a man giving up and a man rising to greatness. Support strengthens his vision because it connects his dreams to his heart. It takes something that could just be ambition and turns it into a shared journey. It transforms a man's goals from solitary pursuits into something that feels like building a future together. That sense of unity is powerful. A man can stand tall on his own, but when he stands with the support of the woman he loves, he feels unstoppable. That is the kind of support that doesn't just strengthen his vision. It strengthens the bond between them and makes the love even deeper. Intimacy goes beyond the physical. Too many people hear the word intimacy and immediately think it's all about what happens behind closed doors, but intimacy is so much deeper than that. For a man, intimacy is connection, it's trust, it's vulnerability, it's the feeling that he can take off the armor he wears every day in the world and still feel safe, still feel respected, still feel wanted. Physical touch matters, yes, but what makes that touch meaningful is everything surrounding it. The way she looks at him, the way she listens to him, the way she speaks life into him when he's doubting himself. Intimacy is the glue that holds two people together, and when it's built right, the physical part becomes a natural overflow of something much stronger. A man can get physical attention almost anywhere, but what he cannot find just anywhere is true intimacy. That's why a woman who understands how to give him intimacy beyond the surface will always hold a deeper place in his heart. Intimacy for a man is being seen for who he is, not just for what he does. It's when she notices his mood without him having to explain, when she asks about his dreams and actually listens, when she remembers little details about him that even he forgets. Those things seem small, but they are the foundations of intimacy. They tell him, "You matter, I see you. You're more than just a provider or a protector to me." That feeling builds closeness. No physical act alone can create intimacy is in the conversations. A man may not always spill his emotions freely, but when he finds a woman who creates a space safe enough for him to open up, that's intimacy. When she doesn't laugh at his fears, when she doesn't use his vulnerabilities against him, when she holds his secrets like treasures, that is intimacy. A man may go out into the world and act tough, but when he comes home and feels like he can let down the guard, that's intimacy. And the more he experiences that, the more he connects, the more he trusts, the more he feels bonded to her beyond the surface. Intimacy also shows up in the silence. It's not always about words. Sometimes intimacy is just sitting together without needing to talk, without needing distractions, just being present with each other. That comfort, that ease, that sense of belonging, that's intimacy. It's when he feels he doesn't have to perform, doesn't have to impress, doesn't have to constantly prove himself. It's when she gives him the freedom to just be, and she still chooses him in that unfiltered state. That level of acceptance goes straight to his soul. It makes him want to open up even more, give even more, and stay rooted even deeper. Physical intimacy is powerful, but when it is not backed by emotional and mental intimacy, it eventually feels empty. A man can be touched but still feel untouched if the connection is missing. But when physical closeness is paired with emotional intimacy, when she's not only with him physically, but also with him mentally and emotionally, that's when the experience becomes unforgettable. That's when a simple touch feels electrifying because it's carrying more than desire, it's carrying connection, trust, and love. That is why intimacy beyond the physical matters. It transforms physical acts from routine into something sacred, something that binds two people in a way that can't be shaken easily. Intimacy also means partnership. A man feels intimate with a woman when he knows she's walking with him, not just watching him. When she shares in his struggles, when she celebrates his wins, when she shows him that she's invested in the journey, that creates a closeness he doesn't forget. That's intimacy because it's saying, I'm not just here for the good times, I'm here for all of it, and that makes him feel chosen, valued, and secure in ways nothing else can provide. That sense of partnership is what takes a relationship from casual to unbreakable, because intimacy builds the kind of bond where both people feel safe being fully themselves. Another layer of intimacy is appreciation. When a man feels appreciated for who he is and what he does, he feels connected. Intimacy is not just touch, it's words. It's telling him, I'm proud of you, or Thank you for all you do. It's expressing gratitude, not just once, but regularly. Those words sink deep. They make him feel seen. And when a man feels seen, he naturally responds with more love. Appreciation is intimacy because it reassures him that his effort is not wasted, that his presence matters, and that he's not taken for granted. A man who feels appreciated will open up more, share more, and give more of himself. Both physically and emotionally, intimacy also requires consistency. A man may connect for a moment, but for true intimacy to grow, it has to be nurtured over time. That means showing up even when life is stressful, even when things aren't easy, even when moods clash. Intimacy is built in the daily acts of care, the routines, the patience, the small gestures that add up. It's in the way she texts to check in on him, the way she encourages him before a big meeting, the way she prays for him when he's struggling, the way she supports him quietly when words aren't enough. Those repeated actions create a foundation of intimacy that can't be shaken by temporary storms. Intimacy goes beyond the physical because it's not about moments, it's about connection. It's about two people learning each other's rhythms, understanding each other's silences, and embracing each other's flaws. It's about trust, about care, about being present in ways that cannot be faked. For a man, intimacy is the feeling that no matter what he faces outside, he has a safe place to land inside. It's knowing that when he strips away the titles, the responsibilities, the expectations, there's someone who still loves the raw, unpolished version of him. That is intimacy in its purest form, and that is what bonds a man to a woman in ways no surface level attraction ever could. Freedom makes him stay closer. A lot of people confuse love with possession. They think if they hold on tighter, if they keep constant watch, if they demand more of his time, it proves something. But the truth is, love isn't about locking somebody down. It's about giving them the space to breathe and still knowing they'll choose to come back. For a man, freedom is not about wanting to be apart from the woman he loves. It's about feeling trusted enough to be himself. When he feels free, he feels respected. When he feels respected, he feels safe. And when he feels safe, he draws even closer to the woman who gave him that gift. Of men are wired to value independence. From the time they are young, they are taught to fight for autonomy, to make decisions, to carve their own path. So when a relationship comes along and strips that sense of independence away, it creates resistance. A man who feels caged will eventually want to escape. A man who feels free will stay willingly. That is why freedom is so powerful in love. It makes him feel that he's choosing her every day, not that he's forced into it. Choice deepens loyalty. He could be anywhere, but he's with her because he wants to be, and that makes the connection stronger than any chain ever could. Freedom doesn't mean neglect. It doesn't mean indifference. It means balance. It means understanding that he has his own passions, his own interests, his own friendships, and allowing him to pursue them without guilt. A woman who encourages her man to spend time with his friends, to chase his hobbies, to have his quiet moments, builds trust. She shows she's confident enough in herself and in the relationship that she doesn't need to monitor his every move. That confidence is magnetic. It makes a man admire her even more because she doesn't operate from fear. She operates from security. A man who feels trusted rarely wants to break that trust. He values it because it shows respect, and respect is the root of love for him. Freedom also allows him to grow. Every man has ambitions, goals, and challenges he must face to become the version of himself he's striving to be. If he feels restricted, if he feels he cannot grow without upsetting the relationship, resentment builds. But when his woman supports his growth and gives him the freedom to pursue it, he feels energized. He feels like she is his partner in progress, not his obstacle. That kind of freedom creates gratitude. It makes him want to share his victories with her. It makes him want to include her more deeply in his journey. Instead of pushing him away, freedom pulls him closer because he knows she is not standing in the way of his path. She is walking beside him. Another layer of freedom is emotional space. Men process differently than women sometimes. A woman may want to talk things out immediately, while a man may need time to think and sit with his feelings. A woman who understands this and gives him that space without nagging or pressuring shows maturity. She shows she respects his process. That freedom of space often shortens the distance because once he's processed, he comes back willingly, ready to share. When he doesn't feel cornered, he doesn't feel the need to shut down. Freedom in this sense is about patience. It's about letting him come back in his own time, and when he does, he comes back closer because he knows she gave him the grace to be himself. Freedom also strengthens desire. When a man doesn't feel suffocated, he naturally leans in more. He misses her in a healthy way. He craves her presence because it's not being forced. That distance, however small, makes the moments together more meaningful. It's the difference between choosing love and being demanded to love. A man who feels free doesn't look at his relationship as a burden. He looks at it as a joy because it never robs him of himself. It adds to his life instead of taking away. That addition makes him want to invest more, to give more, to show up more fully because it feels like partnership instead of control. Freedom also builds loyalty. When a man feels caged, he may rebel just to prove he still has independence. But when he feels free, he doesn't need to seek validation elsewhere. He doesn't feel the need to prove anything because his woman has already proven her trust in him. That trust ties him to her more deeply than constant monitoring ever could. He doesn't want to risk breaking something so rare. Freedom, in a way, becomes the strongest chain because it makes him feel valued as he is, not as who someone wants to mold him into. That validation keeps him closer than restrictions ever will. Freedom, at its core, is about respect. It says, I trust you to be who you are, and I don't need to control you to feel secure. That respect makes a man love harder. It makes him want to live up to that trust. It makes him want to honor the woman who gave it. When he feels free, he also feels motivated to protect that freedom by treating her right, by being faithful, by investing his energy back into the relationship. Because to him, freedom doesn't mean the absence of commitment. It means the presence of choice. And the more freedom he feels, the more often he chooses her. Freedom makes him stay closer because it allows him to breathe, to grow, to be himself, and to love without force. It transforms the relationship from a place of pressure to a place of peace. And every man, no matter how strong or independent, is looking for peace. When he finds it with her, he doesn't want to let it go.